Okay, so now exercise 4. So it has 3 parts. We have already seen this exercise. In the first one, we have to show that x square plus 1, this polynomial is irreducible over the field of integers modulo 11. And we have to prove directly that this quotient ring is a field and it has 121 elements. So let us go with the irreducible part first. The polynomial x square plus 1 is irreducible over f because the equation 1 plus y square equal to 0 cannot be solved for y belonging to f. What is this logic? You will understand this logic if you go back to the solution to exercise 2b. There we handled one such polynomial. In fact, the same polynomial, although the field I think was different, but you can guess that from the calculation that we did there in that solution, you will ultimately end up, I mean, if you assume that x square plus 1 is reducible over f, then you will ultimately end up having an equation like this which has a solution in f. Now for this particular field, that is the field of integers mod 11, it has 11 elements, you already know. You can put them in place of y one by one and you will see that for none of them we have the equation solved. I mean, none of them solves the equation. So that's why x square plus 1 cannot be reducible. It has to be irreducible. So we mentioned that fact. See the solution to exercise 2b. Okay. Now we have to directly show that this ring is a field. That means we already know what are the things that we need to show. It should be shown to be a commutative ring. We know it is a commutative ring. It must have a unit element different from the zero element, which is also true. Its unit element is the coset 1 plus this ideal x square plus 1, and we know that this is different from the zero element which is the ideal itself. The reason being that the polynomial 1, constant polynomial 1 does not belong to the ideal itself. So that's why this coset and this coset are two different things. So the unit element in this ring is different from the zero element, and there is a unit element. So the thing now we have to show is that every non-zero element has a multiplicative inverse in the ring. So we write like this. We already know that this quotient ring is a commutative ring with the non-zero unit element. One plus x square plus 1. Now let us consider a general element in this ring. Now a general element in this ring will look like a coset of this ideal by a polynomial. But we already know, we have actually gone through one such calculation where we did our calculations in this field. Okay, there we saw that every element in this quotient ring can be uniquely expressed as a polynomial of degree at most 2 with coefficients rational numbers. A similar thing can be done here. In fact, not going that far, you can just simply see this thing. A general element in this ring will look like this now. What you do, you use the division algorithm to divide fx by the polynomial x square plus 1. The remainder will either be 0 or it will be a non-zero polynomial of this form, ax plus b, whose degree is at most 1. That is, it is either a constant polynomial or it's a linear polynomial that is of degree 1. So we are going to use that fact. So without mentioning a general polynomial, we write, here itself, let ax plus b plus x square plus 1 be an element in the ring fx by x square plus 1, which is not equal to 0. Now this will be equal to the 0 element of this ring, that is the ideal x square plus 1 itself, when and only when both a and b are equal to 0. You see, this is equal to the 0 element x square plus 1 if and only if this polynomial ax plus b belongs to this ideal. Now belonging to this ideal means being a multiple of x square plus 1. Now if that multiple is by a non-zero polynomial, then the degree of that multiple will be more than 2 or at least 2. So that can never be this polynomial. So that's why the only possibility that this polynomial be in this ideal is when it is equal to 0. So that's why this is equal to this if and only if both a and b are 0. That means if we are choosing a non-zero element of this form, then at least one of a or b should be non-zero. So that's what we will mention. That is equivalent to choosing a non-zero element in this ring, where not both a and b are 0. Okay. Now we have to somehow produce another such coset so that their product is the unit element in this ring. That will prove that this has a multiplicative inverse and that coset will be its multiplicative inverse. Okay. One can prove that one can prove, but one can prove this thing. A square as well as B square, they belong to this set. And there is 3, 4, these brackets, don't forget that our field is the field of integers, not 11. So that means they are not actually literally integers, they are congruence classes modulo 11. So these brackets indicate that fact that these are congruence classes, and the modulus is fixed, which is understood, so we are not mentioning that here. So what you have to do, you have to take the squares of all the congruence classes. This A and B, these are all congruence classes, these are not numbers, these are congruence classes modulo 11. You take the squares of all possible congruence classes and you express them in this reduced form. What I mean by that is this: say you consider this congruence class modulo 11, you calculate this is say a square, then this will become, how we multiply to congruence classes, this becomes the congruence class containing 25, but we know that 25 is congruent to 2 times 11 is 22, so 3 mod 11. So that means this is equal to the congruence class 3. So that's how we have 3 here. Like that, if you consider all the possible squares, you will see that the squares belong to this set. Okay. Okay, now why do we need A square and B square? From which we actually need it for a particular reason. It follows that A square plus B square is not equal to 0. This 0, keep in mind, is this congruence class 0. And also we should not forget that where not both A and B are 0, both A and B are not equal to the congruence class 0. That fact we have from this choice, because we had to choose a non-zero element in this ring. Okay, so this is not equal to 0. Remember that A comma B are not simultaneously 0. So that's why we get this fact. In other cases, you can see if you take any two from among these elements, repetition is allowed, you will never get the 0 congruence class. That's what we mean by this non-inequality. Okay, but why do we need this? Then this fact comes out. If we multiply this coset, our original coset, and this coset minus a times a square plus b square inverse x plus b times a square plus b square inverse plus x square plus 1. Then one can verify, if one actually performs this multiplication, then one can verify that this becomes equal to the unit element of the ring, thereby showing that this coset acts as a multiplicative inverse of this coset, proving that any such non-zero element has a multiplicative inverse. Now note carefully that because a square plus b square is not equal to 0, and where is this a square plus b square? A square plus b square is an element in the field f, that is integers modulo 11. So it's a non-zero element in the field. So in the field itself it will have its own multiplicative inverse. That inverse is this a square plus b square inverse, and as such this part minus a times inverse of a square plus b square times x plus b times a square plus b square inverse, this part is actually a polynomial in fx. So this is a legitimate coset, or in other words an element in this ring, where in fact we emphasize the fact that this indeed belongs to this ring, where minus a times the inverse of a square plus b square times x plus b times this plus x square plus 1. This is the ideal x square plus 1. This object belongs to this. So that's it. That completes all the things that we need to be able to conclude that this is a field. So that's why this is a field. This shows that this is a field, since the general element in this field looks like this. So from the form of that general element we will be able to guess the number of such elements, and hence we will be able to say how many elements the field has. Is of the form Cx plus d. Let's just use some other symbols, C and D, where C and D are integers modulo 11. That's why there are 11 choices for each of C and D. Hence, eleven choices for each one of them independent of the other. Hence, the field has 11 square equal to 121 elements. The fact that this calculation gives us the unit element, this I leave to you. Okay, you please actually perform the calculation and see that whatever you end up with, that coset is actually equal to this coset. Okay, so that will convince you that the calculation is correct. Like this, we have part B. In part B, the field is same, but the polynomial is now again something else. For part B, okay, for part B, the showing that the polynomial is irreducible, that we cannot just simply say that that particular equation has no solution in the field, so the polynomial has to be irreducible, because unlike this part A, now the calculation is not there for us. This is a new polynomial, x square plus x plus 4. So we have to show its irreducibility from scratch. Suppose x square plus x plus 4 is not irreducible. Then this can be written as a product of two linear polynomials, that is two polynomials of degree 1. So we can write it as ax plus b times cx plus d. For some field elements A, B, C and D, where to ensure that these both of them have degree 1, we have to assume that A and C are non-zero. A comma C are non-zero. This implies we then perform the multiplication on the right hand side of this equation and equate like coefficients. Doing that, we get these equations. AC equal to AD plus BC equal to 1 and BD is equal to 4. Okay, if you do the calculation, you will see that you get these equations. These equations give, okay, now using these equations we get this. 4 plus BC whole square is equal to, okay, in place of 4 we can write what? We can write BD and AC. Okay, so BD is equal to 4 and AC is equal to 1. So we can write like this. The type of all these calculations, I mean, we have seen quite a few in the previous video, right? Where we showed that some polynomials are irreducible over some given fields. The type of calculation is somewhat similar. You can see that we start like this. We have to actually identify that is the main job. This term we have to somehow identify. After this, the things go similarly. Like for example, here I think in a previous equation we had 1 plus bc square or 2 plus bc square, then in place of that constant you replace that constant with some ab or ac, so it's similar. Now after that, you already know the step, you have to take bc common out. So we will be left with AD plus BC, and then AD plus BC is equal to 1. So we get BC. So this tells us that BC is a solution to the equation y plus, 4 plus y square is equal to y in our field, and this is an equation which will fail to have a solution in the field, thereby giving us a contradiction. Thus, BC belonging to F satisfies the equation, or we may write y equal to BC. Y equal to BC belonging to F satisfies this equation. Four plus y square equal to y. However, it can be directly verified that the equation 4 plus y square equal to y cannot be solved for y belonging to F. So this is a contradiction. And proves that our supposition is wrong. That is, x square plus x plus 4 must be irreducible over F. Okay, now before I proceed any further, let me put some ink. Okay. Now, this, now like before, this quotient ring is already known to be commutative. And has the unit element one plus the ideal generated by x square plus x plus 4 that is not equal to the 0 element, which is the ideal itself. Moreover, as a ring, it has 121 elements, same like before. Why is that so? That is because you see that although the polynomial is now different, but the degree is still 2. So if we divide a general polynomial over f by this polynomial, then it will still have that form ax plus b. And we mentioned that note one thing, that the field having 121 elements has nothing to do with the fact that the quotient ring is a field. So we can just conclude that it has 121 elements before concluding that it's a field. The ring has 121 elements, and that's what we are doing now. The general element of fx by x square plus x plus 4 looks like this, plus x plus 4 where a and b are field elements. So the thing that is left for us to show is that every non-zero element has a multiplicative inverse like before. So now we try to do that. Now consider an element like part A. Belonging to fx divided by x square plus x plus 4 where not both a and b are 0. This ensures that the element we have chosen is a non-zero coset. If a is not equal to 0 but b is equal to 0, if this is the case, then a is not equal to 0 and b is equal to 0. That means what we are considering here is that if b is 0, then a has to be non-zero. So here the case is the case where b is 0. This one is actually a consequence of b being 0. Then look at this calculation. Ax plus b plus x square plus x plus 4 times minus 4a inverse x minus 4a inverse plus x square plus x plus 1. This product turns out to be equal to the unit element in this ring. Again, you have to perform the calculation and convince yourself that we really get this. But does it make sense? This second element, does it make sense? We have taken inverses in the field. Of course, A is a non-zero element now in our field, so it will have its inverse. But what about this 4? This 4 actually is the congruence class containing the integer 4 modulo 11, which clearly is different from the 0 element in this ring. And A is also one such congruence class, which is not equal to the 0 congruence class. So if we take the product of these two congruence classes, then since every field is an integral domain, this product of two non-zero elements, which is 4a, will itself be a non-zero element, and that's why there will be an inverse of 4a, a multiplicative inverse in the field. So this is a legitimate coset in our quotient ring. Okay, so there is no problem with this element. Where, in fact, here also we mentioned that fact, where minus 4a inverse x minus 4a inverse plus x square plus x plus 4 belongs to this quotient ring. Okay, now this is only the case where b is 0. Now we have to also look at the case where b is non-zero. So in this case, our chosen element does have a multiplicative inverse. Now assume that b is not equal to 0. Now under this assumption, a may or may not be 0. Now one can directly verify with a little warning, although it's a bit tedious. That this field element is non-zero. We are denoting it by the symbol gamma. B square minus AB plus 4a square. What is the reason for this calculation being tedious? It's that you have to consider all possibilities of A and all possibilities of B except you cannot take B equal to 0. In every such possible pair, you will see that this remains a non-zero field element. Is it really feasible? Yes, it is feasible because we are working in a finite field now which has 11 elements. But you can see that although there are 11 choices, but if you independently choose A and B, it will be very big, which however you can take the help of a calculator, or websites are there which do modulo calculations. There you can quickly verify that for all such choices this is a non-zero field element, and we need this in our inverse element, inverse coset, and the inverse is this. Now ax plus b plus x square plus x plus 4 with this you are going to take the product of this coset minus a gamma inverse. It's because we need gamma inverse, that's why we had to make sure that gamma is non-zero. X plus b inverse, and we need b inverse also. So for that we need the condition that b is non-zero. That's why its inverse, multiplicative inverse, exists in the field. Minus 4a square b inverse gamma inverse plus x square plus x plus 4 Don't ask me how I came up with these expressions. Okay, it took a long time, and also some help from outside. Outside means internet. So I somehow was able to join all the pieces together and come up with this thing. So that's it. Where you can, since we are mentioning that thing, that this again belongs to the ring, so here also we mention a gamma inverse x plus b inverse minus 4a square b inverse gamma inverse plus x square plus x plus 4 belongs to our quotient ring. So this is a field, and we have already concluded it has 121 elements, so part B is over. Now we come to part C. Now this is supposed to be tough, and it is tough. Here we have to show that this field and the previous one, they are actually isomorphic, and this we will prove by producing a real isomorphism, showing that defining a function between them and showing that the function is an isomorphism, onto isomorphism, and we directly do just that. Define a function f from the second field into the first field okay, let me write here. By what? By this. I know Herstein writes functions to the right of the argument, but let us just write, he is not uniform in that also. Sometimes he writes the function to the left also. So let us write the function to the left, because already the things are quite confusing. Let's not confuse ourselves more with such weird notations. So here the general coset looks like this: ax plus b plus x square plus x plus 4, and we define its image to be, this will be a coset of this ideal, ax plus 5a plus b plus x square plus 1. Let me write like this, you will understand. Okay, so the image of this coset is equal to this coset. Now I am going to leave showing that this function is well defined and it respects addition to u. Showing that the function is well defined amounts to taking two such cosets here in the domain, assuming that they are equal and proving that their images are also equal. That will tell us that the function is well defined. That means you have to take two cosets like this. This is one coset and this is another coset. Assume that they are equal. If inputs are equal, you have to show the outputs are also equal. That will tell you that the function is well defined. Now this implies a1x plus b1, when are two such cosets equal? When the difference of the elements that produce them belongs to the coset, belongs to the ideal. When this belongs to the ideal, okay, which will imply that this polynomial has to belong to this ideal. Now in this ideal, every element is a multiple of this polynomial. Okay, so if this polynomial has to be a multiple, say this is equal to some fx times x square plus x plus 4, then this fx must be equal to 0, because if this fx is a non-zero polynomial, then we can apply the degree formula to conclude that the degree of this polynomial, which is less than or equal to 1, is equal to the degree of fx plus degree of this one, which is equal to 2. Clearly that will give you a contradiction. So that tells us that this fx must be equal to 0. In other words, this polynomial itself should be equal to 0, and that happens when these coefficients are 0, thereby giving you the fact that a1 is equal to a2 and b1 is equal to b2, and from that you can easily say that the corresponding images are equal, because a1 a2 are equal, b1 and b2 are equal. So that gives you the fact that f is well defined. And f respects addition, that is also very easy. You have to add these two polynomials, apply f on that sum, find the image. That is one thing. The other thing is that you have to apply the image to the the function to the cosets individually and add the images, then you will get another thing. Those two things you will see that they are equal. So f respects addition. So instead of writing these things, I am just simply going to mention that they can be easily verified. It's easy to verify that f is well defined and respects addition. Now we come to the task of showing that f respects multiplication, and this things will fall in place, but the calculation is a little big. Now consider two elements. These are two elements, a1x plus b1 plus this, like that, a2x plus b2 plus this belonging to our ring, our field, domain field. Then we have to multiply these two, and on the product we have to apply f. So we start like that. F of a1x plus b1 this is one coset and this is the other coset. On this, after the multiplication is over, we will apply f. So our first job is to carefully multiply these two cosets. Okay. So if we just simply multiply according to the definition of coset multiplication, we have to multiply these two polynomials, and that product will give us the new coset. So that means a1x plus b1 times a2x plus b2 plus x square plus x plus 4. Here we have just applied the definition of multiplication of two cosets, but now we have to actually multiply these two polynomials. If we, without thinking of anything, if we just simply multiply them, we will have this a1 a2 x square plus a1 b2 x plus a2 b1 x plus b1 b2. Okay, don't lose track of what the things are. This is a coset inside f, where this is our ideal and this is the polynomial which is giving us the coset. Now it's a polynomial of degree 2, it can be reduced, and for that we apply this trick. So what we do is this: So in place of this we are going to write 10a1a2 plus, let me just first copy from here and then we will see whether what we are writing here is correct or not. This times x plus 7a1a2 plus b1 b2 plus x square plus x plus 4. It seems like we are saying that this coset is equal to this coset. In fact, that's what we are saying, we are using. But are they equal? Let us see. This coset will be equal to this coset if and only if the difference of this polynomial and this polynomial belongs to this ideal. If we look at the difference, it's very important to actually make sure that we are correct at every step. A2 b1 x plus b1 b2. This is the first polynomial giving us the first coset. Then the second polynomial is, we are taking difference now. So minus 10a1 a2 plus a1 b2 plus a2 b1 x minus 7a1 a2 minus b1 b2. This difference should belong to this ideal. Then only we can say that these two cosets are equal. Now things get cancelled. These terms cancel each other, okay, because they are the same, and b1 b2 also they cancel each other. So we are left with what? a1 a2 x square minus 10 a1 a2 x minus 7 a1 a2. So we have a situation like this. Now keep in mind that our field is the field of integers modulo 11, where this minus 7 is actually the congruence class minus 7. So that is equal to the congruence class 4, because minus 7 is congruent to 4 modulo 11. So in place of minus 7 we can write 4. In place of minus 10 we can write 1. So that means if you take a1 a2 common out, you have this. Or to distinguish it from the ideal, let's just put them within square brackets. So this difference of these two polynomials turns out to be a multiple of this polynomial x square plus x plus 4, and that's why this actually belongs to the ideal generated by x square plus x plus 4, and that is why these two cosets are equal. So we can actually write one in place of the other. So this step is correct. Do you see how the logic goes? Okay, but now we need to continue. Okay, now what benefit shall we get from this expression? This can then be, okay, now on this we are going to apply our function f. So our function does what? Our function takes the coset given by the polynomial ax plus b to the coset of the ideal x square plus 1, where the polynomial is ax plus 5a plus b. So here ax, in place of a we have this. So first of all, ax will remain as ax, 10a1 a2 plus a1 b2 plus a2 b1 plus 5a plus b. So 5 times 10 a1 a2 plus a1 b2 plus a2 b1 plus b. B is these two terms, 7 a1 a2 plus b1 b2 plus, but don't forget that this is ultimately, it has to be a coset, but now for this ideal, okay, it's ultimately an element in the second field. Okay, right. So now what do we get? Now we have to simplify things. The first term stays like that, 10 a1 a2 plus a1 b2 plus a2 b1 x plus, and now here is the simplification. 5 times 10 is 50. Now what is this congruence class? If you divide 50 by 11, then it will become 4 times, because you cannot take 5 times 11, it will become 55, that is greater than 50. So 4 times 11 is 44. So that gives us 6. Okay, so that means if we do our simplification here itself, then 50 can be replaced with 6, and 6 plus 7 is 13, modulo 11, 13 is equivalent to 2, because 13 is 11 plus 2. So if you take care of everything, that is 50 times 10 a1 a2 plus 7 a1 a2, you get 2 a1 a2. Then 5 a1 b2 will stay like that, plus 5 a2 b1, okay, and b1 b2 plus the ideal generated by x square plus 1. Okay, now in place of these things we can write another coset, and that is this. a1 a2 plus a1 b2 plus a2 b1 plus, in place of 2 we can write the congruence class 35, always keeping in mind that these numbers actually represent congruence classes, because 35 minus 2 is 33, which is divisible by 11. So here we are changing only one number. We could have written 35 here also, but that would be too confusing. So we write one more step. 5 a1 b2 plus 5 a2 b1 plus b1 b2 plus x square plus 1. Now if one carefully notices, then before that we have to okay. Okay, now after this what we have written is this a1 a2 we have to bring in x square. So we are writing this plus 10 a1 a2 plus a1 b2 plus a2 b1 x. This term is untouched, it stays like that. Oh, I forgot to write x here, see, there is a mistake. And then plus what we write 25 a1 a2 plus 5 a1 b2 plus 5 a2 b1 plus b1 b2 plus x square plus 1. Okay, is it justified again? If we take the difference of these two polynomials, then this one and this one they cancel. 35 minus 25 gives us 10. So 10 a1 a2, and these terms also get cancelled. That means ignoring the ideal x square plus 1, if we consider these two polynomials, then their difference is 10 a1 a2 x square plus 10 a1 a2. So it's 10 a1 a2 times x square plus 1. Am I saying it correctly? This term and this term they cancel out. Okay, and 35 minus 25. Oh, I have to be careful. Which one am I subtracting from which one? Say I subtract this one from this one. Let me just write, otherwise I will make a terrible mistake and then the whole effort will go in vain. So I am writing this minus this a1 a2 x square, this minus this, that makes this one vanish. Okay, 20. Okay, you see, now it becomes 25 minus 35, so that is minus 10 a1 a2 and 5 a1 b2 5 a1 b2, all the other things they cancel. So we have this. Okay, so it becomes x square minus 1, but that is not a multiple of x square plus 1. So that means there is a mistake here. Is there a mistake, or should I have taken a minus sign along with this term? I should take a minus sign here, but that actually will not give me what I want. 35a1a2 plus 5a1b2. Let me just see, okay. So if I want to multiply these two terms, then I will actually get a1 a2 x square plus 5a1 a2, that gives us 25a1 a2, 5a1 times 5a2 plus 5a1 b2, 5a2 b1, and then b1 b2. Oh, but where is that 10 going? Yeah, that thing is there, no? Let me see. a1x plus 5a1 plus b1 plus our ideal times a2x plus 5a2 plus b2 plus our ideal. Okay, so if I perform the calculation, I will have a1 a2 x square plus 5a1 a2x, okay, plus a1 b2x plus 5a1 a2x plus 25a1 a2 plus 5a1 b2 plus then by b1 a2 b1x plus 5a2 b1 plus b1 b2. So this gives us what? a1 a2 x square plus 5a1 a2, 5a1 a2, that gives me 10a1 a2, and with that there is an x which I am going to take common out, plus, so this one I have considered, these two I have considered, then a1 b2 x, a2 b1 x plus a1 b2 plus a2 b1 x. So that means these two have been considered, and I am left with 25a1 a2 plus 5a1 b2 plus 5a2 b1 plus b1 b2. So I really do need this plus, but then I am not getting what I want. Or is there a mistake that I have committed here? That's what I want to know. Here we have written 35. In place of 35, I am writing 25 here. So that 35 actually is creating a problem, no? No, I think this is a mistake itself. It has to be somehow rectified. So for that reason, I have to leave it incomplete. So what I will do is that I will rectify this mistake, and we will continue from here in the next video. I mean, I feel bad about this. After doing so much, we have again got a mistake. But I feel that it can be rectified. It's not a very big issue. So with that, I end this video here, and very soon I will come up with the correct solution. and then we will proceed as usual. There are some 2 or 3 more problems, so we will, after solving this only, we will go forward, and don't worry, we will solve this. So I end this video here. If you spot any other mistake, or if you have any other doubt regarding this thing that we have done today, or any previous thing, then you can always write in the comment section. So I end this video here. Okay, this is me, Lucifer, from a mathematical room.